It's a great pleasure to be asked 2 minutes ago by Wendy to interview.
You're interviewing?
I'm interviewing you.
Oh, you're interviewing?
I'm interviewing you. That's what she asked me to do, to interview this National Council treasure. She's our national treasure, and this is Zara Young, OAM, who is, I'm not even going to say all the things that she's done, but I know that she was a past president, and she was a past national vice president, and many, many other things.
Past national treasurer, which is really more important.
Which is very, very important.
Can I just say that Gail Hammer's husband has got COVID?
I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Gail Hammer's going on. That's what happened.
Well, let's get back onto it.
All right, go back onto
Okay,
it.
so it's a great pleasure, as I said before.
Is that why you want to come in early?
No, I want to do the accounts. I want to do the charity trust.
Oh, that's very
No,
important.
I also want to say that Zara has been involved in National Council for, I thought it was 70 years, but
No,
she
80.
tells me it was 80 years. So could you just tell me, my first question to you is, could you tell me about your first association and being involved in National Council?
Certainly.
Thank you.
At about approximately the age of 16, my cousin took me to a meeting of the CNY juniors in Young Street, Circular Quay, where there were council rooms, and on a Sunday afternoon. So it was a mixture of boys and girls, and we met once a month, and after a very short meeting we'd go off either on a ferry ride to Manly, or we'd go to the park. But sometimes Dr. Fanny would come to our little meetings, and she always had one of her lady committee members with her, and she'd talk about what was happening and what they were doing at an adult level at National Council. None of us were particularly interested in any of that.
Right, so I'm sure that one of the attractions to National Council for a 16-year-old would have been to meet people or young men.
Exactly.
Would that be right?
I would think so.
That'd be right.
And,
Okay.
and then there was a hiatus, and when I was first married,
That's what I was going to say. Why did you then come back once you were married? What attracted you to National Council?
it wasn't an attraction. A girlfriend invited me to come to a meeting of the young marrieds group of the National Council of Jewish Women. So I would have been about 23, I think. And that group morphed into the progressive group as we got older. And now, in 2023, there's just two of us left from that group, Anne Barnum and myself. And
So can I, I'm just going to say also that what I didn't say was that Zara is still involved actively in National Council, and can I say how old you are?
pardon?
Can I say how old you are?
Yes.
Yes, so
No
she
secret.
is 96, and she's only just handed over the chairmanship or chairpersonship of the Charity Fund Trust, and she still serves as a trustee. She handed over to me. Thank you very much. And she still serves as a trustee, an active trustee.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you again. Now, you said you began coming to council, obviously to meet people, and then later when you were in a young married group, and I think council obviously had a a real aura of connecting and socialising, which was very good for the Jewish community. But why did you, I mean, you're somebody who has really been involved for virtually your whole life. Why did you continue to be involved? There must have been something about what it stood for, and perhaps influenced by Dr. Fanny or whatever, that made you continue.
Very much influenced by Dr. Fanny. And the fact that National Council worked for or supported Israel and worked for the local community here in Australia, both the Jewish community and the wider community. But I think more importantly with the friendships that were made. I mean, friendships lasted a lifetime from people I met in council. And we enjoyed, we did a lot of fundraising for Israel and for local causes. We also did a lot of outreach work, a lot of community service work, so we were well regarded in the wider community. We were part of the Meals on Wheels, we visited public hospitals, we were in every area of local life. And that's not only attracted me to National Council, but kept me involved in National Council because I believed in the values.
Yeah, what it stood for. And you served in a number of positions and chairs, but you were also, of course, president of New South Wales for twice. So
Exactly.
you don't have to tell us about all the machinations, but if you'd just like to tell us what that meant to you and what sort of areas you feel were really worthwhile.
Well, in my first term between 76 and 79, now really, really busy, exciting years. The main focus in those years, as I just said, was fundraising and community service. And we were connected with the JNF, and there was an annual Queen competition between different Jewish organisations, 3 or 4. We'd sell a youth group ourselves, and the most money raised by the candidate of that organisation was crowned Queen. And I'm very proud to say that in 77 we won that competition, first time in 15 years. And then the following year we won it again with a record amount. Our first Queen candidate was Patty Cowper, and in 78 it was Marina Albert. Very exciting times, huge fundraising events. And we also, and in 1979, we were very, very fortunate. Sir Zelman Khan was appointed as Governor General of Australia, and we were the first organisation that Lady Khan, we invited Lady Khan to a morning tea, and this was the first organisation that she attended. And Council House here in Wallara was overfull. We had to turn people away. There were just two things in that. And that's one of the a really amazing fundraising luncheons, because we had luncheons, monthly luncheons, was actually ongoing, was when we had Jill Rann, who was the wife of the then Premier of New South Wales, of our guest of honour, and Ita Buttrose, as the editor of the Women's Weekly, as our guest speaker at that luncheon. And once again, we had to turn people away. We were featured in the Women's Weekly. We had the Women's Weekly. Oh, it was just tremendous. They were wonderfully exciting 3 years. It was ongoing.
Can you tell me something? One of the things that we don't do anymore, but we did up till about 2017, that we had a very, very, we still have a strong relationship with Israel, but part of the platform of the organisation was to actually support various programs pre the State of Israel, right up till 2017. Would you like to tell us something about some of those Israel programs, and of course the amount of work that went into actually raising funds?
Well, like I said, our main was working for the Queen competition together with the JNF for 3 months of the year, from September through to December, and then we had our own national projects, which New South Wales, of course, contributed to, which was the Land Foundation, which was an organisation for children with disabilities, and also we, but this was not just New South Wales, so this was on a national level. But it was a very coherent body, the national level. All the different sections worked for the national projects
in Israel.
In Israel. Mm-hmm. And so now you obviously have because of your many decades, you are able to give a real overview of the organisation, and so would you say that it's changed greatly? Hugely.
You went there in 1923, but you know, how would you? What do you see? No, what do you see as some of the differences, perhaps, or similarities?
I can't tell you any differences between the early days and the 1970s, because I think more or less it ran on a parallel. I mean, like I said, the main focus was on community service fundraising, and that's about what it was. I mean, you know, but now, in these times, it's more on service to the community here. And I'm very proud. It makes me smile when I see so many young people in Council House, you know, working away.
Now, one of the other things that you were very much involved in was as the building chair. We're all very proud that after the many properties that Council has had through that 100 years, that we finally were able to purchase this incredible building, which is very much seen as something we should be proud of. But you were involved heavily in the building chair, and also, of course, the changes to this building.
Well, the thing of it was, I was what was called a House Committee under Fanny Adler, who was our New South Wales Treasurer in the early days. So I was always involved in the care of Council House. But in about 1982, there were plans drawn up for a redevelopment of Council House, which incorporated 2 shops, and which was very exciting. But unfortunately, nothing was done about it. So when I came back in as president in 1988, there was the first thing I did was to get the file out on our building to see that that was in June in 1988, and the approval for rebuilding Council House would expire in December of that year. So I quickly spoke to my treasurer, Zelda Fagan, and a couple of other members. I phoned Wallara Council, made an appointment with the manager, and we sought to get an extension, which they would not agree to. So we had 6 months to find somebody to underwrite the
renovations,
redevelopment. We didn't have the money. When Council House was built all those years ago, I believe that Dr. Fanny reached out to the members who gave interest-free loans.
Which I don't think a lot of people realise.
I don't think so.
No.
I mean, it was an amazing achievement for women. After a lot of search and a lot of looking into various ways, a builder, David Newman, agreed to do the development in exchange for one shop for, if I remember correctly, 7 years.
20 years or so.
20 years. The first couple of years were free of rent. After that, he paid for, facilities, electricity, etc. So it was not easy, but it was done, and
we didn't have that big loan.
we had no loan. But to get the lift in, it did not include the lift. I personally went door knocking to get I think it was £125,000 or dollars, one or the other, and there's an exercise book up in the loft with every name who gave all their, and we actually raised $125,000 for the lift. So yes, I've always been involved with the building. I don't think a lot of people realise that the redevelopment actually, I remember coming here as a teenager for a wedding or somebody's wedding function, and of course there were no shops there, and you came up. So what difference do you think, it's quite obvious, but that obviously made a huge big difference to the strength of National Council having those two shops. It secured our financial situation.
Yes.
So it was, as I said, it secured National Council, and
something that a lot of people don't realise, and I think all presidents or anybody who's been involved with National Council for a long time know, is how, more than an association with Walper Hospital.
That's my second passion.
That's your second passion, and although we are not involved like we were, you might like to tell us something about that involvement and the work that our members and volunteers were involved in.
I think it's a story that's very well
documented.
Thank you, Vicky.
I don't know. There are a lot of people I speak to, and every time I always say, "Do you know about Walper and our association with Walper?" And they say, "No," and I have to then go through it all again.
Well, as most people know,
yes, we know.
Gertie Walper, in appreciation to the Hospital Visiting Committee of the National Council, left her home in Coogee, who used as a convalescent home for Jewish patients, and it was found unsuitable, and therefore, through Dr. Fanny, the premises in Trelawney Street were purchased, and that was the beginning of the Walper Hospital. Now,
that was a nursing home, Jewish nursing home. Yes.
It was called the Walper Jewish. I thought it was always called the Walper Jewish Hospital, but I could be wrong. And now the founding president of the hospital was Sam Carpin. His wife Hilda was a staunch member of the National Council of Jewish Women, and her sister Anne Arnfeld was a past president of New South Wales Council. Now, they held in Council House monthly luncheons and card parties raising funds for
Walper.
Walper Hospital. Every penny went to the Walper Hospital. The late Lily Bergman and myself were their committee girls. We made the lunch, they got the people, and our hall was buzzing every month. It was a beautiful, and we had a wonderful association with Walper, very connected with Walper. And then, of course, they wanted to rebuild, which was correct, and to do so they needed the land in their
Title.
land title in their name. And in the spirit of communal cooperation, we handed over that land title for $1.
Yes, so with...
So from that,
Yes.
so there was, for many years, there were representation on the Walper board from a council member
yes.
to 2 council members. So our association with Walper goes back to the very beginning. Through Dr. Fanny.
Through Dr. And actually, for people who now go to Walper, the lounge upstairs
Is dedicated
to Dr. Fanny at
Yeah.
National Council,
Yeah, exactly.
which we're very proud of too. Yes. So, if I was to ask you to sum up how you feel about council and how it has influenced many of the things that you've done in life, what would you say?
Well, National Council's been a very large part of my life. You know, first of all, there's your family, and your extended family, and then your family and friends, and then there's my council family. Council's always been there for me from, you know, a very young age. And I'm very proud of the achievements of council. And when I come in here now today at Council House and see all those young people working away
Yes.
for, you know, sorting clothes and packing kits for young mothers who are in need, it makes me very proud to belong to such an association that supports Israel, supports our local community, both in the general and the Jewish. So,
Community, yes, yes. So it's something that
part of my life.
it's part of your life.
Part of my
Yes.
life.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that interview. On the spur of the moment.
It's been my pleasure.
Good.
Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you, Zara. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. We're finished.
I heard that was very formal.
What?
I heard that was very formal.
Where's my walking stick? Oh, over here.
Hang on, Zara, wait.
Hi.